Good morning, my dear students. I hope you are enjoying this cold weather. But do not turn cold for your studies. Warm up and begin your studies. Today, I welcome you to the third session of the lesson Kingdom Classification. I begin with a thought that living close to nature is good for mental health. So let us be close to nature and let us learn more about nature. In this series, I was teaching you about bacteria. And I told you that bacteria are acellular or unicellular. You can also call them as single-celled organisms. And they are the minutest organisms. Depending upon the nutrition, how they feed, bacteria are divided into the following categories. Saprobes. They feed on the dead organic matter. Parasite. The parasitic bacteria feed on a host cell or a host body. They may either live inside the body or outside the body of the host. Photoautotrophs. They are the bacteria which use sunlight to prepare their food. Chemoautotrophs. These bacteria oxidized inorganic matter such as iron or sulfur to make food. Depending upon the need of oxygen, the bacteria can be classified into aerobic, anaerobic, and facultative aerobic. Aerobic bacteria are those who require oxygen to live. Anaerobic bacteria do not require oxygen to stay alive. And facultative aerobic bacteria are those who can adjust in either presence or absence of oxygen. Let us now study the structure of bacteria. Look at the picture which is displayed over here. You can see that the bacteria is composed of a capsule, a cell wall. It contains ribosomes, nucleoid, because it does not contain a true nucleus, flagella, villi, and cytoplasm. The capsule. It keeps the cell from drying out and helps it stick to food or other cells. It is the most outermost part of the bacteria. The cell wall. You can see that the cell wall is depicted here in green color. This is the thick outer covering that maintains the overall shape of the bacterial cell. The ribosomes, the granular portion that you see inside the blue structure is called as the ribosome. It is the part of the cell where protein synthesis takes place. Next is the chromosome. The indigo blue colored coil structure that you see inside the bacterial cell is the chromosome. It is a ring made up of DNA. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid. And it contains a single chromosome. Now you see a long brown structure. This long brown structure is the flagella. It is a whip-like tail that some bacteria have, and it is meant for locomotion. How does the bacteria reproduce? Under optimum conditions, bacteria can reproduce every 20 minutes. Bacteria reproduction is controlled by various factors, including temperature and food availability. Their reproduction can be of asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Binary fission. Binary fission is the asexual type of reproduction of bacteria. It involves the copying of DNA and splitting into two new cells. You can see the cell here and the DNA is being copied. It is being replicated and it is being made into two, and the cells also start dividing into two. Thus, the bacteria divides into two cells. Now, when you hear the word bacteria, what comes to your mind? At once, diseases comes to the mind, infection, epidemics, etc. Now, do you know that only 1% of all known bacteria cause human diseases, and about 4% of bacteria cause plant diseases? 95% of bacteria are non-pathogens. That means they do not cause diseases. Let us now discuss about the benefits of bacteria, or the uses of bacteria, or how bacteria are useful to us. In a nutshell, bacteria make cheese, yogurt, buttermilk, and pickles. They produce vitamins in your intestine. They help in digestion of insoluble fibers. In industry, bacteria are important in sewage treatment and the breakdown of oil spills, the recovery of gold, copper, and other metals in the mining sector. Bacteria are also helpful in biotechnology and the manufacture of antibiotics and other chemicals. Many act as decomposers, recycling nutrients. Actinomycetes produce antibiotics such as streptomycin and nocardisin. Saprobes help to break down dead organic matter. Now we'll study every point in detail. The first is primary decomposers, or the bacteria are the decomposers. They decay and decompose the dead organic matter. That means they decompose the dead bodies of plants and animals. Several saprophytic bacteria. Earlier I had told you that saprobes means they feed on dead and decaying animal or plant matter. So the bacteria which are saprophytic, they are found in soil and they bring about decomposition of organic matter and change it into manure and mix it in the soil. And thus, the inorganic substances are mixed in the soil. Now, this slide represents the decaying process. In the first picture, you can see that the leaves, the dead leaves and the plant parts are being decomposed. And in the second picture, you see that animal bodies are being decomposed. This process of decomposition is taking place by the help of the saprophytic bacteria. These bacteria feed upon the dead bodies of plant and animals and break it down into inorganic substances. These nutrients get mixed up into the soil. The nutrients which were once taken by the plant and animals are returned to the soil and its fertility is maintained. Therefore, these bacteria are known as decomposers. Many bacteria help decompose the dead organisms and animal wastes also into chemical compounds such as ammonia. In sewage treatment plants, this is done. Bacteria are used to break down the complex animal and plant matter into simple compounds. Many bacteria are helpful in two ways. They recycle nutrients. That means the carbon and nitrogen is being recycled. They break down dead organisms or waste, and in this way they recycle the carbon and nitrogen. Organisms that do this are called as saprophytes. Some of the broken down nutrients are returned to the soil and plants use them. Animals eat the plants to get these nutrients. This helps plants to get nitrogen. Nitrogen is plentiful in the atmosphere, but plants cannot absorb it from the air. You have studied the respiration in plants, and you have studied that plants also take in oxygen as animals and human beings take oxygen for breathing. But they are unable to take in nitrogen from the atmosphere. The nitrogen must be changed to ammonia. Some bacteria, they live inside the roots of plants and change the nitrogen to ammonia. In return, the plants provide food for the bacteria. Now, in which plants do they live? They live in the roots of the leguminous plants. Leguminous plants means the plants which belong to the pea family. And in the roots of the pea plant, there are nodules. Nodules means gaate, chote chote. And in those nodules, the bacteria inhabits or lives. And this bacteria is capable of taking in the atmospheric nitrogen and converting it into ammonia so that the plants makes use of it to prepare its necessary things. Now you see, this is the nitrogen cycle given here. And you can see that the atmospheric nitrogen is being taken by nitrogen fixing bacteria which are present in the soil. These are present in the root nodules of the plants, and these are being converted into nitrates which is being used by the plants, and it is also being consumed by the animals in the plant in the form of plant food. After the death of animals and plants, this is returned back to the soil. Bacteria play an important role in maintaining the soil fertility, which we have just now studied, by nitrogen fixing bacteria, and these nitrogen fixing bacteria are Azotobacter and Clostridium. And it is also the Rhizobium bacteria which is helpful in fixing the nitrogen. The nitrifying bacteria is the Nitrosomonas, which converts nitrogen to nitrites, and the Nitrobacteria, which converts nitrites to nitrates. This whole process is known as nitrogen fixation. Some bacteria are helpful in acid production. Bacteria like Mycoderma aceti. It converts solutions into vinegar, or it is helpful in the production of vinegar. Clostridium butyricum. This is the name of the bacteria which helps in separating the fibers in jute and sun hemp. Curing of tobacco and tea. The bacteria called as Micrococcus candescens, which gives a peculiar flavor or taste to tea leaves. This process of imparting flavor and taste to tea leaves and tobacco is called as curing. Bacillus megaterium flavors and gives taste to tobacco leaves. In dairy industries, Streptococcus lactis helps in converting milk into curd. Lactobacillus casei, Bacillus acidophilus, and Lactobacillus plantarum are also used in dairy industry. Bacteria are also helpful in the production of medicines. They are helpful in the production of antibiotics. The antibiotics like chloromycetin, streptomycin, Streptomycin venezuela, Streptomyces ramosis, and Bacillus and erythromycin. They are all obtained from the bacteria. Growth of other pathogenic microorganisms are inhibited by the use of these antibiotics. These are used to control and cure diseases like typhoid, diphtheria, pneumonia, and tuberculosis. Serum and vaccines. Vaccine serums developing immunity in human beings serum is used for treating and controlling diseases like diphtheria. You know, vaccines are given. These vaccines are actually the serum, and ammonia vaccines are utilized for checking these diseases like typhoid, smallpox, cholera. Do you know that bacteria is also used to control the pests? Use of bacteria to control the growth of insects is by the use of Bacillus thuringiensis. This bacteria is helpful in controlling the growth of the caterpillars, the bollworms, and the corn borers. Using microbes to clean up pollutants and waste is also a good practice. Genera like Pseudomonas species and Bacillus species are used for this purpose. Bacteria are also helpful in the production of cream, in the production of yogurt, pickle, and cheese. They are also helpful in the production of vitamins. You know, children, that the tanning of leather is also done with the help of bacteria. What is tanning of leather? It is the removal of dead skin and hair from the hides, that is from the dead skin of the animals, is done by the fermentation with the help of bacteria, and then the leather goods are produced. The bacterium which is called as Escherichia coli, which is found in the human intestine, is helpful in the synthesis of vitamin B complex, which helps in the digestion and absorption of food. The picture which is displayed on the screen is of a plant cell. You know that the plant cell contains a cell wall, that is the outermost boundary of the cell. And this cell wall is made up of cellulose. Now, why I'm talking about cellulose? I'm talking about this is because the animals, they graze over the grass or they eat the plant parts. And the cellulose part is the hardest to digest by the animals. But how do they digest the cellulose? Cellulose can be digested by the enzyme named cellulase. And how do they get cellulase? They get cellulase by the bacteria that is present in their intestine. Just before some time I was telling you that Escherichia coli lives in the human intestine. So this Escherichia coli also inhibits the intestine of the grazing animals or cattle. And you can see in this picture that Escherichia coli is present in the intestine of a cow. This releases cellulase enzyme, which is helpful in the digestion of cellulose that is present in the plant parts. The herbivores, they depend on bacteria that live in their stomach to digest cellulose. This bacteria secretes The picture which is displayed on the screen is of a plant cell. You know that the plant cell contains a cell wall. That is the outermost boundary of the cell. And this cell wall is made up of cellulose. Now, why I'm talking about cellulose? I'm talking about this is because the animals, they graze over the grass or they eat the plant parts. And the cellulose part is the hardest to digest by the animals. But how do they digest the cellulose? Cellulose can be digested by the enzyme named cellulase. And how do they get cellulase? They get cellulase by the bacteria that is present in their intestine. Just before some time I was telling you that Escherichia coli lives in the human intestine. So this Escherichia coli also inhibits the intestine of the grazing animals or cattle. And you can see in this picture that Escherichia coli is present in the intestine of a cow. This releases cellulase enzyme, which is helpful in the digestion of cellulose that is present in the plant parts. This bacteria secretes cellulase, which is helpful in the digestion of cellulose. Now in this picture, you can see the digestive tract of the human beings. Basically, the small intestine and the large intestine is shown here. So, as I told you earlier that the bacteria Escherichia coli inhibits the intestine of human beings and it is helpful in the production of vitamin K, which is helpful for the digestion and for absorption of food. Now we'll study about the harmful effects of bacteria, or we will study how bacteria is harmful to us. Some bacteria, they cause the food to spoil. They cause the food either to spoil in a mild way, or they can cause the food that is being refrigerated, and the food that looks or tastes bad should be thrown away. Let us discuss what are the harms that they cause. These bacteria cause many diseases. Many diseases in humans as well as in plants. The bacteria cause botulism, gonorrhea, strep throat, etc. Some harm the body by producing poisons. These poisons are called as toxins. A single gram means a single small bit of botulism can kill 1,000,000 people. Botulism is food poisoning. We often use the word food poisoning, but the scientific name of food poisoning is botulism, and it is caused by the bacteria botulinum. The bacteria can be inside canned food. That is why you are asked to see the expiry date of the packets or the tinned foods or the Tetra packs that you are buying. And a very good example is if you find a Tetra pack puffed up, then do not buy it, which shows that that pack contains a number of microorganisms, or that pack contains bacteria which have caused it to puff up, and the material that is kept in, or the food item that is kept in, should not be consumed. Notice can expanding as the bacteria grows inside it. Many saprophytic bacteria grow on the food items, and they secrete certain toxins which cause spoiling of food. Like they cause poisoning of cream, milk, cheese and meat products. For example, Salmonella typhimurium and Clostridium botulinum, they secrete poisons or toxins, and they are the reason for food poisoning. The bacteria are also responsible for causing certain diseases. These diseases could be in plants as well as in humans. And the diseases are like pneumonia, whooping cough, botulism, typhoid fever, cholera, syphilis, gonorrhea, tuberculosis, meningitis, tetanus, and diarrhea. In plants, the diseases that are caused by bacteria are citrus canker, leaf spot of cotton, wilt disease, fire blight, soft rot, paddy blight, bean blight, and tobacco wilt. Besides certain harmful effects, bacteria are also used as bioweapons. Some pathogenic bacteria or their toxins can be used as bioweapons to create bioterrorism. Bacillus anthracis, which causes anthrax, is one such pathogenic bacteria. Similarly, bacteria causing cholera, botulism, and poliomyelitis can also be used as bioweapons. With this, I conclude the topic here, and I'm asking you to read the chapter on page number 18, 19, and 20. You have to learn the benefits of bacteria, as well as you have to learn the harmful effects of bacteria. Because many times in the examination, you are asked to write 5 benefits of bacteria. Even you are asked how bacteria are harmful to us or to plants. So I hope you will learn the useful effects and the harmful effects of bacteria. So, bye-bye children. Take a very good care of yourself. God bless you.